On this episode of Hopeful Romantics, we discuss what to do when your partner is the opposite of you. Welcome back to Hopeful Romantics, where we are back with you. We're excited to discuss a brand new topic on today's podcast. And so, Denise, how are you doing?
I'm good. Fabulous.
Fabulous. That's right. He's even singing for you today. So we're excited to be back with a new video, new content, and we're going to discuss something that's near and dear to our hearts, and that is what to do when your partner is the opposite of you. Now, we have been married for some time now, Denise.
10 years, sir.
10 years, and we dated, and we realized pretty quickly that we are opposite in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Now, granted, we have some similar core values, but our personalities are different. So tell me about, like, what differences do you see between us?
I'm loud. And he's more quiet. No, okay. So I like to say that I'm the more colorful one. I bring more personality. I'm joking. I'm more colorful. I'm more loud. I am very outgoing. What else?
I would say that for me, I am very, I guess type A personality. I live by organization. We talked about before. She's more of a free spirit. We talked about that in our financial episode, if you haven't seen that. But essentially, I'm more regimented, organization-oriented. Some people might say a little stiff in certain areas, but my wife brings energy and passion.
Some people.
But at the same time, she brings like just everywhere, right? So I'm like, this needs to be like this. And she's like, no, let's just throw it everywhere. So you could imagine.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? And so and that's caused us challenges sometimes in our marriage, right? Because imagine you're used to doing life this way, or maybe you grew up this way, or your brain processes things a certain way.
Exactly. Especially when you have conversations.
Yes.
Yes, my husband is very A, B, C, D kind of guy. I'm like, oh, let's start with A. Let's go to Z. Let's go to H, But he's like, no, wait a minute. And that's awesome, though. I love it.
It is. And so what we were talking about actually with the friend is that oftentimes if you talk to your friends and whoever they're dating or who they're married to, oftentimes people are the opposite of each other, right? It's kind of funny how we end up, you usually would say, I want someone just like me. Or maybe you won't say that, but we often complement each other. And that's what we found through our dating time and being married is that the things that I'm weaker in, she's strong in, and the things that she's weaker in, I'm stronger in. And all of a sudden, if we're operating as partners and as one, then now together we really bring a solution to a lot of problems. So when it comes to raising our kids.
Absolutely. It looks very different. And I think I enjoy it being different because there's so much that I have learned from you and your personality. You can't always be cuckoo out there,
And was that a bird sound? What was that? Okay.
Free bird,
I got you. Okay. I was curious.
See?
I wouldn't have made that sound. We're complete opposite. I personally wouldn't have chose to make that sound, but she did. So here we are.
Did.
But you know what? We've learned to compliment each other. So we're going to share 3 tips today about how do you really have fun, how do you have success, and how do you win in your relationship when you're the opposite of each other. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay, so here's point 1. Point 1 is that we need to tolerate each other's differences. Now, I'm going to break down what that means. You're probably thinking, tolerate? I don't want to be tolerated. Well, think about not in like putting up with someone, but think about it like this. When we talk about tolerance, when it comes to cultural differences, tolerance when it comes to cultural, race differences, personality, right? So sometimes we have tolerance for other people and other viewpoints.
More for other people.
More than we do for people that we're in a relationship with. So that's the first step of when you're the opposite of someone, you have to learn to have tolerance for that person. Absolutely.
And I think for me, I'm going to make it personal right now. I didn't quite understand. It's like, why are you like this? Why do you think that? Why does your brain work like this? I don't understand it. And then when I took the time to understand, okay, this is really how he thinks. This is how he does things. When I come to him with any issues, I know how to approach it because I understand, the way you think and your thought process. It's not, and tolerance doesn't always mean, I'm just going to tolerate it. I'm just going to know that. And it can have such a negative connotation to that word, but it's really not it. It's really just understanding your partner. It's like, okay, he likes it A, B, C, D. All right, let me try and meet him there.
Yeah, in fact, I would say if you're struggling with the word tolerance, think about understanding who they are, right? So that might be, and here's what's helped us, spending time with friends who are like us. There's a couple who's like me and a couple like that's like my wife. Yes. And as you talk to them, you're like, that's why you do that. Oh, that's why you're like that. Because when it's personal, you start with like, well, you know what, that's just how you are. That's how you were raised. That's how I was raised. But when you see other couples you hang out with, you're like, okay, it's not a me thing. It's not a Denise thing.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's just people like that.
Exactly. And it's okay. It's so sweet. I really, in the beginning, I did not because I couldn't. But once I understood and I made it my point. I made it personal. Like, I want to understand my husband, and I want to understand how to approach things with him, how to talk to him. And once that happened, it was easy.
Right. But it starts with the desire, like you said. You wanted to learn tolerance for my personality that was so different than yours.
Yep.
Because if you're handling money and I'm like, well, we have to be focused, we have to have a budget, we have to do this, and that's different for you, then how do you understand me, right?
Exactly.
When I talk that way, or maybe the way I handle our kids, which is a big deal in marriages, right? The way she handles the children, the way that I do. But what we've learned is to tolerate how we handle each other, and then go to the second step, which is part 2 is that's how we celebrate each other's differences.
Yes.
So we not only understand the differences and have tolerance for each other, but then we start to celebrate each other. Meaning,
absolutely.
Yeah, right. Meaning that I honor you for the way that you bring color to situations. Yeah, you're a little loud. I understand now because I had tolerance for the difference that you come from a family that's very lively and talks, with passion, I'll say, because they're probably watching. They'll watch
I
this film.
I'm passionate when I'm loud.
Passionate, yeah. I won't say loud. They're passionate.
Yes.
But then I start to say, you know what, though? But that brings life to a party. There are other times when being quiet, like me, is good. And there's times when being more vibrant is good too. So I start to celebrate who you are.
Absolutely. And also you appreciate it. And that's the thing. I celebrate who my husband is. Thank God he's not like me. Can you imagine two Denises in a relationship? That is not going to work. It'll never work. But I do celebrate the fact that you think different than what I do, and the times when you do speak, I hear him, I listen to him because his thought process is so much different than what mine is. And the talents and giftings that he has and how we approach things, I celebrate that, instead of like, ugh, my husband is like that. Oh my gosh, he's so annoying. Oh my goodness, I cannot. And there are couples that actually say that and do that.
Speak to him,
me, it's like, oh no, thank God my husband is like that because he's showing me a different approach to things. Because sometimes you think your ways are okay, but once you sit down, once I sit down with I'm like, yo, I didn't see it that way. Okay, thank you. Instead of like, ugh, please, you think you know it all. Oh my gosh, no, it's not like that. So really, it's your approach to your partners.
You make a great point because when you go from understanding or tolerance to celebrating, then you start to enhance who you are because you made a good point. You start seeing the world differently.
Absolutely.
Before I have my perspective, my way of doing things, the way my family did things. But when I say, you know what, maybe it is good to bring more life or more color, and it makes me a better person. I'll never be like you, but I've started to pick up parts of who you are and has made me a better person. And you picked up parts of who I am. It's probably made you a better person, or way too serious sometimes.
No, I have no. Sorry, but it's true. I have picked up some things. I've realized it's okay to just have that solitude time. Just be where you just want to just be by yourself. I appreciated that because we said it in one of our podcasts. I get my energy from people.
Let's talk about that. Can I pause for a second? So she's definitely a full-out extrovert. Like Denise, for her to have more energy, and we'll say it's where you get your energy from.
Yes.
So because you were starting to explain it, and I want you to explain it. As an extrovert, people say you get your energy from being around others. As an introvert, which I'm more introverted, I get my energy from being alone, and that's how I recharge my battery. When I'm with other people, I start to drain. When she's by herself, she starts to drain.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of speak to that, please.
Yeah, because for me, first of all, I love talking, okay? We know we don't have a lot of words, but I do too. But I love being around people, laughing with people, cracking jokes, and just be in people's presence, you know. When I'm by myself, I love the time, but it gets kind of boring for me, you know. Like I'm like, yeah, okay, I had enough of this. I need to call up somebody, you know. I need to go out and have some coffee. I love brunching. I have friends that loves brunching, so when I go out to brunch with my friends and I come back, I feel so good. And with that, I can pull back into my family again. You know, I have so much joy. And not because my family doesn't give me joy, but it's just how I fill my cups. And, you know, sometimes that going out with people and just being in the presence of, I love it. I love being around people.
And for me, and this might help you as couples watching right now, for me, I'm an introvert, right? So I could turn on the energy and I can be with people. I mean, part of my job every day is being with people, but I get my energy from my alone time. So imagine when I come home from working or being on a road trip and doing things, she's like, DJ, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I need to rest. I need to be alone. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. But for me to do that, I need to recharge.
Right.
And that was a big deal when we first got married. I remember I would come home and go straight downstairs. And, you know, back then we had a basement. You know, we don't have basements here in Florida. But I would go downstairs because I needed to recharge. And you were like, hey, I want to talk. I need energy.
Right.
Because you were at home by yourself during that time.
And that's good because once I understood who he was and his personality, I could see when my husband walks in the door, is this, okay, keep the kids away, you know, give him a minute, do this, you know, and I can actually now tell, like, okay, this is the time he wants me to be around him. Oh, let me tell you the story. This is what happened. Or like, no, leave him, give him a minute, you know, let him be. And that is understanding who he is instead of getting angry and mad, like, you never come this and you want to no, we don't do that. We assess this and we're like, okay, he wants to be around. He sit there. Sometimes he'll just sit there and just be quiet. And for me, I'm good with that because I understand him. I know how he recharges. I know him. It's not because he doesn't love me. No, he loves me. He had a long day. I can't just go full speed ahead. And because I can go full speed ahead. But I think me taking the time to understand him, understand he's different from me because I can switch on anytime. But for him, okay, he comes through the door. This is what it is. I'm good.
And I'll share this part. We have to also understand our partner's needs, right? Because she's doing that for me, but the other side is I may want to be introverted, but she's had a long day too, and she needs me to get past my comfort zone and talk to her. The kids need me to say, well, guess what? I know you want your alone time, but the kids need you. So we have to learn how to ebb and flow, and that's when you go from tolerating to celebrating the differences.
Right.
You start to learn things from her. So I'm like, okay, let me pull out my inner Denice and now bring some energy. Or hey, it's the kid's birthday. I can't be so dry. I need to pick it up. So now that is getting to our last point, which is this. You first start with tolerance. I understand who you are. I accept who you are. And I'm starting to really uncover who you are. Then it goes to celebrate. That means I not only just understand who you are, but I lift up who you are. I magnify the differences and I celebrate it.
Yes.
But then the final stage is operating in the difference. So we tolerate, we celebrate, then we operate. Operating is when you start to partner in your differences and you become to form as one and you guys are an awesome team. So in ministry, right, as you know, we're pastors. What we do in ministry is a lot of times Denise will draw them in. She draws them in, she's smiling, she's hugging, and I like to sit back, I'm like, I don't know you really. But then when it comes time to teaching, I'll step in and I'll teach and I'll add, here's 1, 2, 3. And then she'll go hug him and love him, make him smile. Then I'll come in and I'll say, well, okay, now here's some strategy how to go forward. All of a sudden, we're a partnership.
Right.
And we're pulling on the differences. I'm not bothered by her. She's not bothered by me. And we are flowing together and helping people.
And I think that is so awesome because my husband will always say, go. I'm like, okay, let's go, you know, and I get it because I understand, you know, there are times that he will go, you know, but there's times where he needs me to walk in my gifting because my gifting is going and making, you know, contact with people, talking to people, warm them up, you know, and then he goes, you know, and then you're talking about teaching. And I just want to say this too, because my husband is a really good teacher. I'm not saying I'm not, but he has a gifting in teaching and breaking down things and everything. Now I get that, you know. So for me, I'm not gonna go sit in my room and trying to be the team. No, I'm gonna say, hey, I have this topic. How do you do this? You know what I mean? And he will help me, you know, break it down. But then I still add my own flair to it. Yeah. You know, I still add my own personality with it. And I think it's really important. And I think the message we also want to give is celebrate each other, you know, be happy that God gave you that partner and find out the differences, you know, and operate in that.
And in fact, I'm not jealous of you. You're not jealous. Because I know some couples, they start to get jealous of each other. Well, why does everybody love that person more? Why do they love him more? Because people love Denice. People like me, but people love Denice. Why? She's like sunshine in the room. She's like, oh, everybody. She's like, makes you feel good. Where me, I'm kind of like, hey, how you doing? What's up? I don't make you feel so good. But what we do is we operate together.
Right.
If we go to a party, for example, I'm like, all right, Denice, go get him. Go make us some friends. And bring them back to me because I don't want to do that energy to make friends. Like, go make us some friends, bring them back, and I'll be cool. And
you're good in keeping the friends. That's the thing. Like, literally, I love because it's so sweet, and I appreciate it. As we're talking about it, it makes me appreciate it more. What we have is that I don't go out, but he knows how to keep the friends. He will cultivate that relationship. He will pour into the relationship. Like, you are a really good friend to have because you're loyal. You will partner with the person. I'll go out there, and then you will just pour that, and that's his gifting. Again, that's your gifting, and I celebrate that.
Well, thank you very much. So, so we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Look here, we want you to take your relationship to the next level, right? And so many of you are probably opposite of your spouse, and maybe has caused some problems or challenges, but we want you to do the 3 steps: tolerate, celebrate, and finally operate together. And when you do that, you're going to see the entire relationship go to new levels. You're going to see your work get better, right? Because I pull on you for work questions.
Absolutely.
You'll see your parenting get better.
Yeah.
And you see your life get better. So
Absolutely.
Any final words, Denice?
No, I just want to say again, reiterate what you said: tolerate, celebrate, and operate. For me, the biggest thing, celebrate each other. Make sure you celebrate who God has given you. Celebrate who God created your partner to be. I celebrate you. I have fun. I mean, it's been 10 years and it took us the time to get here. But for those newlyweds, you don't have to take 10 years to find out, oh, okay, I got to, tolerate, celebrate, or anything. You can do that now. It's like, what is his personality traits? What does he like? What is it that, makes him light up? My husband knows that now. I don't have to tell him. I know now, how to pick up my husband's mood. So for me, I think this is really important. It will keep communication so open. Ladies, when you go to your husband, you know how to approach your husband. Because I would come there with my husband for 50 sentences and I'm like, when you get into the point. So it helped me understand, okay, I got to make my point real quick. Or I tell my husband, I don't have a landing yet. I'm just going to go. But he understands because he knows me.
That's good. Yeah. Well, my friends, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, celebrate each other and have fun. We'll see you next time.